Shalom. Welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, and together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service, jbiztechphilly.com, and now columnist for the Jewish Press.
Right, I'm having fun doing all of that. So with us today, as you know, I'm very involved with government, and we have one of the most sought-after town supervisors in the Capital District, Phil Barrett. Phil is a Clifton Park Town Supervisor from Saratoga County. Welcome to the Jewish View. I'm glad you came.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Rabbi, for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
So how are things in Clifton Park?
Things are great in Clifton Park.
State of the town.
Yeah, things are great in Clifton Park. You know, we continue to diversify our tax base. When I took office in 2000, our Exit 9 commerce area, which is our largest commercial area, was struggling mightily. We set about a very aggressive rehabilitation and redevelopment of the Exit 9 area. And it's been phenomenally successful and has led to a lot of good financial conditions in the town of Clifton Park.
Is that mainly because of nanotech? Are you going to, is that one of your...
That's Malta.
No, we actually...
I mean, you're saying, but people move in. I mean, you know...
Are you impacted by Global Foundries?
Yeah, I would say our housing market has been positively impacted to some extent. Much of the county has been positively impacted. But I would say Clifton Park to a small extent, yes.
How many years have you been supervisor?
I took office in 2000, and that's when we set about working hard and aggressively to attract new retailers to the many empty buildings and retail space in the Exit 9 area. Our first success was Boscov's. Mr. Boscov saw fit to locate a store at Exit 9, and that has spurred a positive snowball that's been tremendous. As you know, winning's a habit, but unfortunately so is losing. We needed to get things moving in the right direction, and we have done that.
For some reason, it seems like you've been there longer than just 16 years.
A lot of people say that, yeah.
What did you do before town supervisor?
It feels like it's gone by in a snap. As you know, as you're living it, goes by very quickly. But the interesting thing is when you're around a long time, you meet more and more people that say, the whole time I've been living here, you're my town supervisor. And so, I don't know, I guess that's a good thing, hopefully.
And you're still young. So
well, I feel young. I'm 48, so we're hanging in there.
So what did you do before you were supervisor?
Well, I have a diverse background, most recently in banking. I was actually a part-time supervisor my first 11 years, right through 2011. And we had a full-time town administrator at Town Hall. As things progressed, the two positions were combined, which was a great savings for the taxpayer, and at that time I went full-time and left my job as vice president at KeyBank.
Oh, wow. So you took a pay cut?
I did. I did take a little bit of a pay cut, but you know, it was a tough decision. It really was, because I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed banking. I enjoyed working for KeyBank. I enjoyed my position as town supervisor. And as much as it's a 7-day-a-week job now, but when you're trying to do 2 full-time jobs, it's very hectic, as you might imagine. So the fact that there's one focus now, I think, is important for the town. The taxpayers of Clifton Park certainly agree with that assessment.
So I asked this of all public officials. What's your salary now?
I'm in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
From the town of Clifton Park.
And when you were
yes.
part-time, it was?
I think the most I made when I was part-time the first 11 years was about $20,000, or most years it was 18, 19.
Wow.
You know, so, but you know what it is when you go in. When I went into the job, it was a part-time position.
Yeah.
And that was fine. You
What's
know, you accept that
growth?
going in.
So
37,000 plus.
You don't have a legal background?
No.
But you know what, Mark?
I only play one on Monday nights at town board meetings.
I put 2 and 2 together. I mean, you go from banking, but that's what they say, and then you say, well, Clifton Park has boomed under you. I mean, is that like, I mean, because a lot of times, like Mark said at the beginning, we like having a lot of politicians throughout the entire area around here, and sometimes you have that political, you know, they went out of law school or college, and now I'm a politician for the last 20, 30 years, so all they know is how to get elected.
Right.
But here from banking, I'm just trying to extend it, if you see it's correct, that you know what business is like. So therefore you say, hey, business is booming. Well, a banker knows how to make business.
Well, I wasn't hampered by the beginning of my career being involved in politics. I was trained in the private sector. Being trained in the private sector is a tremendous benefit to any public official, especially somebody in an executive position. There's no doubt that my background in the military, military training, my experience in banking was a tremendous asset as town supervisor. There's no doubt about that. But the bottom line is a lot of the decisions you make are through a lot of study and based on solid information, but a lot of decisions you make are on your gut. You know, they're gut decisions. And hard work makes up for everything. So the important thing is to anybody in any job is to work harder than your competition. And we get along very well with everybody around us. I love all of the adjoining communities. I enjoy working with people throughout the capital region. And we're friends, but we're also competitors. I look at every municipality is a competitor with Clifton Park, and we need to be better every day, every year, to ensure that we're not only keeping pace with our competition, but we're exceeding the expectations of our residents.
It sounds like from your banking, it sounds like you have a good military background, because that's what military is. It's not like peace and love. I mean, you have to be better than everybody else.
Well, it is. I mean, I get along with everybody. That's my job, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and we do a lot of negotiating, a lot of working with other municipalities and the private sector and everything else. And if you have a good project and a good deal for Clifton Park, you know,
you're welcome.
Yes, yeah, we'd love to have you.
What's your military background?
Well, it wasn't long and distinguished, I'll give you that. I went to Providence College, received an ROTC scholarship, and when I was getting out of college, I went through my commissioning as an officer, and at that time they were cutting back, big time. There were a lot of cutbacks in the military, so I ended up going the reserve route. Which again was great experience from basic training on through. It was great experience.
What year were you talking about?
So that would have been 89, 90.
And you didn't have to serve full time?
No, I didn't.
Really, in ROTC? That's
yeah.
Interesting.
So you didn't go
no,
overseas?
because there were so many cutbacks that the amount of positions available were not plentiful. Even coming out of ROTC.
So,
as a matter of fact, they were pushing you. I'll never forget one time. I used to max out the PT test. Always worked out a lot and was in good shape back then, many years ago. And I always maxed out the run. We did a 2-mile run with your physical training test, and it was never an issue whatsoever. And when I was in basic training, they almost threw me out for having flat feet. So they were, which was incredible to me, but that was the extent that they were going to get people out in the cutbacks. You know, when these generals and folks are told by the government, we need X amount of units to be gone, well, they need to fill that quota. You know, they have the recruitment side that says you need to have X amount of new people joining the military and you better hit your quota. By the same token, when they're ready to cut, they say you better have X amount of people out of here. And so they have to do what they have to do.
So so you didn't go overseas or anything?
No, I've never been overseas.
Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Washington, D.C. My dad was in the military, and I was born at Walter Reed Army Hospital. We lived there for a couple of years and moved back to New England, where my parents were from.
Rhode Island?
Yeah. My father grew up in East Providence. My mother grew up in Massachusetts. So we ended up going back to our roots, and eventually I'm here in New York.
What brought you here?
Fate.
Wife?
Well, like I said, I love everybody, Mark. So.
No, but what made the connection? I mean, I know I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to University at Albany. I stayed up here one summer. I fell in love with the place, and I stayed, and I never left.
Yeah.
what was your connection?
It was, yeah, it was a future matrimonial connection. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then did you ever think about going into government? And
people ask me that all the time, and I really didn't have any interest in government per se. I mean, growing up, Ronald Reagan was the first figure that I would say got me interested in what was going on in the world and in politics in our country. But I was never on any debate teams or the Young Republicans or Democrats in college or anything of that sort. But when I got out of college and started making money and looked at my paycheck, I suddenly became interested. And it was at that time I decided to get involved.
And did you?
And not because they took out 2 less, Mark, in case you were going to ask me that. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
They were taking out too much. Yeah.
They're taking out more now,
more
just so you
now.
know.
Well, you're making more. So that's another high tax bracket. So, I can only imagine that when you go to the Association of Towns, that
I've never been.
Never been?
No.
Because they always meet in New York City.
Yeah, no, I've never been.
Oh.
Yeah.
How come? Not a joiner?
Never felt the need to go. It costs money to go. And, we go through a lot of work to save $1,000 at a time in the town of Clifton Park. And that's why when you look at the town, I mean, you look at our head count, we're down about 10% employees over the last several years while the town is growing because we're constantly looking to do things better and more efficiently. So we don't take, spending $1,000 on a junket down in New York City very lightly. So no, I haven't been.
All right.
Not that there's anything against people going to the association.
So the taxes have gone down. Talking about money, continuing that. I mean, if a person lives in Clifton Park, the taxes have gone down, or?
Yeah, our highway tax. When I took office in 2000, our highway tax was 87 cents a thousand. Now it's a little under 24 cents a thousand. We remain without a property tax, general property tax, like just about everybody else has. So when you look at our peer competitor group, going back to competition, when you go to our peer competitor group, we are the lowest for certainly our size of a municipality. We are the best deal in town. We're going to remain that way because the only way to maintain a strong municipality in the future is to maintain a low cost of living and doing business. And that's really the only way we're going to survive, never mind flourish.
Now, I should know this, but did you unseat an incumbent, or did you?
No, the incumbent didn't run again.
So it was an open seat.
So it was an open seat, and I threw my hat in the ring. It's a 2-year term, so I've run 9 times.
Wow. So, and then did you ever run for any other office? You ran for assembly or something, or no?
No, I've been asked a few times, but I have no interest in going to Albany. Nobody believes me. You're supposed to say that, right? They talk to you about running for assembly. No. Congress. No. But I actually mean it. And I enjoy my position in the town of Clifton Park. I think, and not because the town can't live with, after I'm gone or anything crazy like that. It's just a matter of I enjoy the position. We've had great success at the ballot box, great success with improving the town and ensuring that it's flourishing. And I think, once in a while you have to step back and be thankful for what you have. And I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I have. I've worked very hard, but I'm very thankful for it. And sometimes you have to sit back and say, it seems some people, they're always running for office, other than the one they're in. And that's not something I've ever wanted to do. Well,
you're running for office all the time, every 2 years.
Yeah, but I made an important caveat there, Mark. I said they're always running for an office that they're not currently in. So. Yeah, when you have a 2-year term, believe me, it goes quick.
Once we're on the Jewish View, of course, as everybody knows, that, we have a few synagogues. I know my colleagues, Rabbi Yossi and Leigh Rubin, on Moe Road, so they, so you have a Jewish population.
Oh, we do.
I don't know what kind of percentage, Mark.
Well, there's also another synagogue in
Beth Shalom, yeah, and that's one of the great things about my job too. Clifton Park is, I don't know how it got this, reputation over the years as not being a unified community, and there's, Velveeta land or whatever they used to say. But the bottom line is our community is incredibly unified. It's a tight-knit community in many, many ways. And one of those ways is through religious denominations and cultural events that occur all the time. But the bonds between our religious organizations in town is very strong, and that's one of the great things about my job is I get invited to all of them, and I truly enjoy it. I had never been to a synagogue until I had been in office, and they've asked me back several times, so that's a good sign. But it's a lot of fun. It really is, and you get to see how different people worship. And the one thing I've noticed is they're all pretty much the same.
Oh, really?
In the message.
Okay.
The messaging and the structure. Maybe the structure is a little different depending on the church, but the message is the same, and that is we should all love one another and live as the being that we worship would have us do. And you know, if we all did that a little more often, I think we'd all be a little better off.
Since we're on the topic, Irish Catholic for you, is that?
Roman Catholic, yes.
Yeah, Irish background?
A little bit of
Barrett?
Irish, a little bit of
Barrett?
Irish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody says they have a little Irish.
Yeah,
in
well,
them.
hey, it's St. Patty's Day. We're all a little bit of
That's
Irish
true.
right now, but
I have a symbol with a shamrock with a Star of David in the middle. So
Really?
yeah.
Should've-
a man for all seasons.
That's
Right?
Very politically correct.
Yeah, right.
I wanted
Not
to
that
ask-
we're looking for that. Mark.
No,
All
not
right,
again.
good.
One thing I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
was it seems like recycling
Yeah.
and the environmental issues are very big in Clifton Park.
Yep. Where they make financially sense.
Okay.
Make
So
financial sense.
When do you have recycling days? You have recycling days that you call for?
We have a hazardous waste day where we collect
Right.
hazardous waste.
You have yard waste pickup?
Yes,
Certain days?
we have yard waste pickup on a weekly basis. We do that through a partnership with County Waste. County Waste is a tremendous corporate partner in Clifton Park. We've enjoyed working with
But
them.
you partner with, like, I don't know if it's Channel 13 or someone, you know, where you have certain days where people can recycle their computers and electronics and things like that, right?
Well, no, we take, we have electronic recycling at the transfer station. And we have a transfer station where we accept household garbage and recycling and yard waste and the whole 9 yards. But we also accept electronics for recycling as well.
Any day of the week?
Yep, we do that on a regular basis.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Okay. So is that, now when I managed campaigns, I found it very interesting that really at these recycling places is a big campaign stop. On weekends, because everyone comes on weekends to recycle. You can catch 1,000, 2,000 people without having to
we
walk
have
door to
about
door.
4,000 families that buy permits to our transfer station for household garbage. I've never campaigned there.
No?
No, I've never. It's too busy. People don't want to be bothered. They want to get down there and get done what they need to get done and get out. So they don't need me down there trying to get in the way. And plus, it's on public property, so we don't allow campaigning on public property.
Well, I just hear that it's a big campaign stop.
Yeah.
What's the town budget these days?
Well, we have a general
How much
fund
is the
of
general
over 16 million. We have a highway fund over 5. So altogether, we're sitting at about 22,
$22 million.
Yeah.
Huh?
give or take a couple bucks. Yeah.
And that's up from a couple years ago. That's up.
Well, it's gone up and down, responding to the market.
And
You
you're
know.
always under the 2% tax cap?
Yeah, we've never been in danger of eclipsing the tax cap. Although this year, I know a lot of communities are going to struggle with that. We'll do what we have to do to stay under. You know, it's very important to be a nimble and dynamic organization. And you need to be, especially nowadays, you need to be very, very nimble and be able to change on a dime. And that includes your finances. So having the resources available and the financial expertise and buy-in from your employees to do that is extremely important. We have 2 unions in the town of Clifton Park. We've worked great together. We've renegotiated our health care offerings with the employees a few years ago that saved the town 20% year 1 in our health care. Our employee expenses are actually down 4% from 4 years ago. So I know a lot of municipalities are struggling with that, but we're keeping our fixed costs in order, and that is what's making the difference.
So Where do you see, I mean, because I think when you're referring to a lot of municipalities are going to have trouble this year,
Yeah.
is because low inflation, and you got to be below the inflation, it's tied, the tax cap is tied to inflation or something?
Well, the tax cap is generally viewed as 2%, right? That was the number that they put out there.
Yeah.
Well, no higher than 2%. Well, this year it's going to be substantially lower than that. So I think there will
Because
because of because there isn't as much inflation. That's correct.
That's right,
Yeah.
okay, so it is the inflation rate. But
Yeah.
it's not really a 2% tax cap either. It's a
Well,
2% on
yeah.
a certain portion of the budget too, right?
Well, it would take us 3 hours to go through a discussion on the tax cap, but you know, there are some things that are taken out of the equation. You can carry over savings from past years. So yeah, technically a 2% tax cap could be higher than 2%, but this year it's well under 1%.
Right.
So even with all those additional things that you might be able to factor in, you're still talking maybe 1%. So I know a lot of school districts around the state and municipalities are talking about having to exceed the tax cap this year. We won't.
Which can be done with a 60% vote of the
Supermajority, yeah,
supermajority?
that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Whether it's
Yeah.
a school board vote or it's a
I think the
town
rules might be a
vote.
little different for school boards, but I know it's a supermajority vote, yeah. So thankfully we won't have that vote, and if we are in danger of it or ever get there, we'll just change the way we're doing things. And we believe that the best time to change things is when things are good. For example, we started off by talking about the redevelopment of Exit 9, and we were able to bring in retail, Boscov's and Target and Kohl's and all these new retailers. But several years ago, we understood that we need to diversify our economy. We can't solely depend on retail. So we have diversified our economy with hospitality, healthcare, almost $100 million in new healthcare investment in the town of Clifton Park just in the last few years. So we've successfully diversified our economy. Now, after all that had happened, what did we do? We basically broke the zoning code in the Exit 9 area and started over. And we now have a town center plan and town center zoning code that we implemented. And people said, well, gee, everything's going so great. Why did you go ahead and change? Because that's when you change, when things are good.
Right.
And again, that does go back to military training as well.
So do you have, I don't know the right word for it, I call it rainy day fund. Not, I didn't want to call it a slush fund. It was a rainy day fund.
Oh, no, we don't call
it
it slush
fund.
fund.
I was struggling for a different word, and that's why.
Now, we do use it for all kinds of things. You know, we might use it for additional spending on infrastructure in a given year. We might use it to spend a little bit on improving the Clifton Common, which is used by...
So how much is your rainy day fund up to now?
Well, we have a rainy day fund that we haven't touched in years of about $3 million, and then we have several million in undesignated surplus. Again, we're very careful with it. We don't ever get to the point where we're going to rely on it. There were a couple of years when things were real tough, even with chopping our budget pretty good. We still had to use a little bit of surplus funding to balance the budget, but after that, we've been in good shape.
And what about, I hear about this Route 146 road repair that's between Schenectady County and
Rexford Bridge?
The Rexford, is that Route
Yeah.
146 though?
Yeah, the Rexford
Okay.
Bridge, that's a
But
major project.
yeah.
Yeah, the replacing the Rexford Bridge.
It's a big artery between Schenectady and Saratoga counties.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
So that's got to be done because
The bridge is old.
falling apart?
Yeah, the bridge is old. It
And-
must be pretty bad if DOT is going to spend that kind of money, right?
So it's, so it's state money, it has nothing to do with the town.
Oh, yeah, no, it's no town money. It's a state bridge.
But it's a pain, but you get the complaints when the
Well,
detours, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, any construction project's a hassle, let's face it, but at the end of the day, when it's over, it'll be a great thing. DOT is another great partner that we have. We love working with DOT. They're tremendous. They've done a great job having public meetings about the Rexford Bridge project during the planning phase. They've been tremendous, and I enjoy working with Sam Zhu and his team on a regular
Name
basis.
is what?
Sam Zhu.
Z-O-O?
Z-H-O-U. Z-H-O-U. Sam Zhu.
Oh, it's a Chinese guy. Okay.
Sam Zhu. Yeah.
Not a zoo like an animal farm.
Oh, no. Sam Zhu. Yeah,
Okay.
Sam Zhu.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I never heard of him. Is he the regional?
He's a regional director.
Regional
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't he like acting DOT commissioner or something?
No, I don't believe so.
I thought he
don't believe so.
was
No.
brought up there in a temporary position. Anyway, what's your debt limit? How close are you to your debt limit in Clifton Park?
Oh, we have very little debt. When I came into office, we had about $3 million. Paid all that off. Over the last couple of years, we've taken out some debt. The rates are so low. The money's free, basically.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what? With rates being what they are, let's take out some short-term notes and get some additional infrastructure projects accomplished. Like I said, the money's basically free. Right. It's hard not to do it. So even though we have millions in unfunded surplus, we went ahead and did that. The other thing is, the controller has this new rating system with distressed and non-distressed and kind of distressed, system, which, I think in general is a good thing. But when you spend down, as we were doing, we were spending down some of our surplus, well, that counts towards your expenses in a given year. And that hurts your rating. So it almost pushes you, if you don't want your rating to get hurt, it almost pushes you in a position of using debt as a way to manage your cash flow, which is okay. I mean, that's what I did for a living. I help businesses manage their cash flow with debt, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, as long as those debt levels remain very low. Mm-hmm. Ours are very low.
And do you, is it good for a town to have some debt? Like, I don't own credit cards.
I think it's okay.
I'm not a debt guy.
Right.
But I'm just wondering, from a banking perspective, from an accounting perspective, is it healthy? Yeah.
Well, certainly you want debt where there's some tax benefit.
Okay.
That would be my first recommendation. I'm not a CPA, by the way, so in case this is not professional advice. I can't do that. I'm not licensed, but having a little bit of debt, first you look for things with debt with positive tax implications. But if you have debt with, like a credit card with no tax implications, you can't write off your credit card interest, it's okay as long as you manage it. If you're able to comfortably make the payments and manage it over time, and make sure that you're not using it to pay ongoing budgetary expenses. If you can save that kind of debt for, when the washing machine breaks, when the oven goes down, when the hot water heater's leaking, if you can just use it for those capital expenses and then pay it down over time, especially you can get rates now with certain stores at 12 and 18 months, no interest. Again, when the banks are giving money for free, you have to take advantage of it.
So who does the town borrow from?
Well, we bid all of that. So if we, like last year, we borrowed $1 million. We started paying it down right away, but we borrowed $1 million. We did an additional, I honestly don't remember who the bank was, to be honest with you, but we go out to bid, and so whoever gives us the best rate gets the deal. Kind of like our savings, Okay.
Yeah. So Key Bank never really is a
company. Oh yeah, they're a vendor of ours, sure.
They are. Okay.
They have been for probably 30, 40 years, yeah.
Yeah, before you.
Oh, well before me, yeah.
But with all this conflict and perceived conflict of interest, you don't see that. I mean, it's all clear.
No, I haven't been an employee of theirs for years.
Right, so you have an arm's length. You have a distance there. You can.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm a shareholder. I own a lot of Key Bank shares, but as far as a Key Bank employee, no, I haven't been a Key Bank employee for many years.
Okay.
No. Great organization, and I enjoyed my time there.
I hear that they're called Fee Bank.
Oh, well,
Because they have a lot of fees.
I don't know who would have said that,
Oh,
Mark. I mean,
please.
and for the record,
You didn't say it, I did.
No, I certainly didn't say it, and
But I
I don't
said it.
agree with it either, Mark, so.
Well, okay. We'll have that discussion offline because we're out of time.
I sound like a salesman for KeyBank here. See, you're putting me in
There
that
you go.
position.
But it's all fun.
We're
yeah.
having a good time, but if we're out of time, we'll have
All
to
right.
ask you back.
Sure.
So listen, you're doing great work.
Thank you.
I know in Clifton Park. And keep up the good work, young man. So maybe you will, aspire to something bigger. But while you're in Clifton Park, great success and
Thank you.
continue with good health.
Yes.
Thank you very
Continued
much,
success.
Rabbi. Mark, thank you
You're
very much. I come back anytime. I appreciate it.
I'll have you back.